Yep, we are live. Awesome. Welcome back to the show. We had a nice show this morning. We're back for another show this evening. We're going to do some fun Senate hearings. I got some recent ones and some from like a year ago. Good ones. So we're going to jump in and have a little fun. Our favorite senators, two of our favorites, Josh Hawley and Senator John Kennedy. You guys ready? Let's jump in. Let's go. Let's go, right? Well, let's go to this one right here.
Chair now recognizes Miss Mace from South Carolina.
Oh, and Mace. And Nancy Mace. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for being here today. Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison, you have presided over one of the worst government fraud scandals in American history. This was money intended to feed hungry children, help kids with autism, provide food and shelter and health care to the needy, and more. You both allowed billions in these American taxpayer dollars to be pillaged and plundered by Somali pirates. You knew this was happening. You chose to do nothing about it, and in some cases, you even enabled it. Attorney General Ellison, you even profited from this fraud by taking campaign donations from these Somalians after pledging to help quash the investigation into them. I find your behavior despicable. My questions this morning, my first go to Governor Walz, and I hope you learned some lessons from your last hearing with me on the Oversight Committee. Have you learned anything since then?
I did, that if I didn't speak up, two of my people would be dead, Congresswoman, and I warned you.
Okay, Governor Walz, what is a woman? Have you learned that lesson? Do you know what a woman is?
I'm the governor of Minnesota, Congresswoman.
You know what a
I'm not
woman
here
is?
to be your prop for your obsession.
So
I
if you
taught middle
can't
school your
define what a
obsession.
woman is, you certainly can't define what fraud is. If you can't even define what a woman is, you can't define fraud. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
Oh, by the way, guys, yes, there is a vertical. Hey, Nurse Terry, how are you? Good to have you back. And we are back. Yes, there is a vertical. Maybe it just popped up for you. Take a look. I got it running. There you go. And if you guys are on Instagram, welcome to the show. Everybody, it looks like everyone's jumping in. We got a couple good, fun Senate hearings, and we're going to start off with this. This is a great one. I almost want to start this over again because it's so good. But here we go.
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Congresswoman.
Did you prepare for this hearing today? Did you do any preparation
I take
for this
Congress
hearing today?
seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today, okay? Are you ready?
Damn.
How much money was spent on 2017 for autism in Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today? $1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million was spent. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me. As
Were you governor in 2024?
I was, but I'm not the head of
Okay, so your
HHS.
excuse before that you didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable.
Dude is just getting rocked.
$343 million was spent in 2024. What percent increase is that from 1 million to 343 million? What percentage increase is that?
I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell me.
Well, are you governor of Minnesota or not?
Yes, I am. I'm not.
Well, when
I'm
I'm
not a
governor of
prop for a
South
member
Carolina,
Congress.
you can sure as hell bet that I'm going to know the math. The math is...
Bro, if you're governor of a state, of Minnesota, if you're governor of a state, right? And I'm just looking at this screen. You see autism go up from in 2017 at 1 million to 2024, 343 million. Are you gonna go, what the hell is going on? Are you gonna try to, hey, what just happened? Did we just import the entire autism population of the whole world into our state? What just happened?
34,200% increase, an increase of 343 times what it was in this time period. Do you know the number of children in Minnesota?
I know that Minnesota ranked as a top 3 state for children in the last year.
What is the total population in Minnesota?
5.7 million.
Okay. What is the total population of children in Minnesota?
I don't have the number in front of me right now.
Are you governor of Minnesota?
I know 400,000 were cut out of health care last week by the actions you made.
Are you governor?
Yeah, this hearing is from what is it? A couple weeks ago. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, March 4th,
of Minnesota.
I am.
And you don't know the number of children
I
residing
don't
in
have the
Minnesota.
specific number. It's 5.7 million.
That's your total
What is your age?
population.
What is the age? 0 to 5?
Wow, bro, wow. This is the guy that was going to be our vice president, guys. Think about that for a second. Think of it.
0 to 19?
You have approximately 1.2 million children in Minnesota.
What
I'm not
age?
even governor of South Carolina. Our population in South Carolina is 5.5 million. We have approximately 1.1 million children under the age of 18 in my home state of South Carolina, okay? As governor, I expect you to know this information. Thank God you're not vice president of the United States. Do you know approximately how many children in Minnesota are autistic or on the spectrum?
No, I don't have that number.
Okay. Well, if you take the CDC's roughly 1 in 36 kids are on the spectrum, we're talking about approximately 33,000 kids. In South Carolina, it's about 31,000 or so. What is, do you know what this is per child, spending-wise, in the fraud for autistic kids in Minnesota?
Again, I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell us.
This isn't, is doing Minnesota math a prop? This is math. We're talking about fraud.
Minnesota ranks at the top. Where does South Carolina rank?
We're talking about money.
Where do South Carolina children rank on healthiness?
These are my questions for you. It doesn't go the other way around unless we're debating on the debate stage. And we're not.
If you're asking questions about being governor, it does.
I'm asking you
When you're
questions
governor,
about
you can
being
come and
governor
tell
of
me.
Minnesota, which you can't answer. This is basic math. And you can't even answer.
not
Do you
here to
even
be your
care
prop.
about kids in Minnesota?
They rank near
Do
the
you
top
care?
in every category. My children are fed.
Do you care
My children
about
are housed.
autistic
My children
children
have
getting
health
the
care.
services they need in
My
Minnesota?
children have the best
Clearly you
schools.
don't. Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady yields back.
Mr. Chairman.
Wow.
Who's, Ms. Bobert? Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Ms. Mace.
May I make my two motions?
Proceed.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Honorable Pamela Jo Bondi to appear before the committee for a deposition regarding the department's handling of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and his associates and compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act.
A motion has been made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance until the end of today's hearing. The committee will now proceed with today's hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights for the awards and settlements paid pursuant to Section 415 of the Congressional Accountability Act.
All right, let's get going. Let's keep going. This is, who's this here? Oh, this is her again.
All right, Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. The government of the District of Columbia, under the leadership sitting in front of us today, has become a poster child for DEI and gender madness. This has led to government. Mr. Chairman, this is not a concert. This audience can just settle down. I want to reclaim my
Stop the
time.
clock, and the gentlelady's right. Under the rules of the House, the chairman is responsible for maintaining order and preserving decorum in the committee room. I expect audience members to be respectful of the committee, so
I'd like to reclaim my time, too,
you
Mr.
reclaim
Chairman.
it. Absolutely. Ms.
This has
Mace.
led to government-sanctioned racial discrimination and the erasure of women. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 provides Congress plenary authority over the District of Columbia. Using this authority today, I'll be introducing the No DEI in D.C. Act. This bill will rip the DEI and gender bender nonsense out of the D.C. government root and branch and restore
I like that gender bender.
for common sense and equal treatment under the law. As the individuals charged with writing D.C. laws, signing D.C. laws, and enforcing
Chair
D.C.'s laws, we have some questions for you on the meanings of some of the curious terms we have found in the D.C. Code. My first question for Mayor Bowser, it's yes or no. The D.C. Code makes numerous references to, quote, structural or institutional racism. Do you believe the D.C. government is structurally or
Absolutely, bro. I love going through these myself, and instead of watching these on my own, I figure I'll watch these with you guys. This one is 6 months ago, so these are not super old, but they're still gems, these ones, these Senate hearings.
institutionally racist? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is DC government racist, institutionally racist? Yes or no? All right, you can't answer the question. So my next question for Mayor Bowser, since you're going to sit there and placate or just be quiet, in Section
forgot to vote the
7-1234.02 of DC Code, you use the phrase child welfare involved birthing people. child welfare involved birthing people. Can you explain to me what this means?
I'm not that familiar with that part of the
Okay, and
code.
so you don't know. In Section 7-1234-02 of DC Code, you use the phrase justice involved incarcerated and homeless birthing people and their non-birthing partners. Can you explain to this committee what that means?
I would have to see
You
the
don't
whole
know. You're
section.
literally the mayor of DC and you don't know your own code of laws.
Well, I don't know
All right,
them
one thing we
verbatim.
noticed, the DC Code struggles to define
Birthing people, guys. This is what we're dealing with nowadays. Birthing people.
is the term woman. So Mayor Bowser, what is a woman?
I'm a woman. Are you a woman?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm a woman. You're looking at one.
Okay, good.
Good answer.
You actually, in Section 3-703 of the DC Code, you use the phrase, the intersectionality of gender and race to create unique dynamics and effects. Can you explain what this means to the committee?
Where is that, ma'am?
Section 3-703 of the DC Code. Do you know what that means? No,
could
you
you give
don't
me
know
the
what that means.
title
So
of the-
Chapter 14D of the DC Code establishes
Mr.
the
Chairman,
commission.
I'm happy to answer questions.
Mr.
but
Chairman, I'm going to
can't-
reclaim my time. This is not her time, it's my time. You can be quiet as I ask you questions, and then you can
recognizes
answer them.
Ms.
And then
Mays.
you can
If
answer
you
them.
would give,
I'm not, Mr. Chairman, this is my time, not hers. I'd like to reclaim my time.
let's make good use of the time, Ms.
Chair
Mays.
I'm making very good
Chair
use of my
recognizes
time.
Ms.
There
Mays.
And you're
is-
Ms. Mays
making
has
my
the
point.
floor.
You're the mayor of DC, and you don't even know your own code of laws. What is a birthing person?
I would assume it's someone who gives birth.
All right, why don't you use, are these women, are these moms? Do you think it's appropriate to call them birthing person? Can a man birth a person?
Well,
Be a
that's
birthing
what I
person?
would call it, but I don't write all the laws, and I'm not familiar with every
Can
section.
men get pregnant?
No.
Can men become women?
Can a man become a woman?
Yeah. Can a man become a
you're-
woman?
Miss
Yes
Mays,
or no? Can a man become a woman? Yes or no?
Miss Mays, I'm not
Okay,
here to
my
talk
next
about
question,
that.
Chapter 14
She almost had it. That was she.
D of the
almost
DC
there.
Code
Oh,
establishes
shit.
the Commission on Reparations and a reparations fund to provide eligible African Americans monetary reparations or other forms of redress. Is it the position of DC government benefits should be provided to individuals on the basis of race?
I believe that the legislation requires a study.
Okay, I'm asking you, is it the position of the DC government that government benefits should be provided on the basis of race?
If you're
is the
referring to
question.
that legislation, I believe it requires a study.
Okay, I'm asking you a question. Do you believe that government benefits should be given out on the basis of race? That is the question. This is the third time I'm asking.
We have any number of benefits programs, and eligibility is
Okay.
established.
You're not answering
per-
any of
Benefits based on race. I'm trying to think of, are there any benefits that should be given out based on race?
these
per program.
questions. I'll give it to you. You're slick. In Section 2-1383 of the DC Code, you use the phrase social value of the LGBTQ community business economy to the district. Can you explain what this means to the committee?
It means that LGBT businesses provide economic benefit to the district's economy.
Do you think all businesses provide economic benefit to the DC economy?
They should, or they would be out of business.
Yeah, of course. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. Chair recognizes
Senator Hawley. I think it's science-based by the way that men can't have babies, but that's going to be something.
Okay, this is 2 months ago.
Senator Hawley, don't worry about it, Senator Hawley. That was Senator Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up,
Senator Hawley, one of my favorites, bro. He's so good. Here we go.
why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there
Oh
is
my
I'm
God,
not really sure
bro.
what
What are we doing, bro? I joke on the channel all the time talking about men getting pregnant. Can men breastfeed?
Goal of the question.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
Oh
men
my
get
God, bro. How could you do that? Hold on. What is she's a doctor? What's her name? Dr. what? Dr. Nisha Verma.
there are many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a
totally
doctor, I
agree.
think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is
Yeah, bro. We're talking about Josh Hawley, bro. Let's go. Let's go.
about science and evidence. And I'm asking you, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not gonna answer my
You're saying
question, it sounds like to me.
biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant?
Wow, bro. Wow. These are the doctors. These are our doctors right now.
Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have
Oh my
a conversation
God,
with
bro.
you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
It also
We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged, and yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly.
Here we go. The comment is, a woman who identifies as a man can get pregnant. So with that logic, if a person identifies as a wolf, can they give birth to humans? So wolves can give birth to humans.
I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women, and I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing, that is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange.
Wow. Wow. Here we go. Which one is this?
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, this is, that's the same. Oh, I want to see this one.
Thank you for returning this afternoon. Secretary Clinton, is your husband someone the committee should investigate?
My husband will be here tomorrow. You'll have a chance to ask him questions.
So my question is your husband someone this committee should investigate?
Asked and answered.
Apparently you are. You've subpoenaed him. He's going to be here tomorrow.
In your testimony before the break, you discussed why you believe President Trump should testify before our committee due to a, quote, pattern of behavior, end quote. You testified that a pattern of behavior warrants accountability. So I want to make sure I understand your standard correctly. The pattern of behavior you describe includes being held civilly liable, indictments, sexually deviant behavior, correct?
Yes.
In 1998, your husband was found civilly liable for sexual misconduct with Paula Jones and settled for $850,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
By your standard of pattern of behavior, should your husband testify before this committee?
He is testifying tomorrow.
On December 19th, 1998, President Clinton was impeached on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice, which directly related to his extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, correct?
I didn't understand what you said.
Your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, his sexual behavior.
He was impeached for several reasons, and then was acquitted in the Senate.
And your husband flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times, correct?
He made several trips with different legs on the trip, as I recall.
But he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane
Yes, he
17 to
did.
26 times? Were you aware that Secret Service was dropped on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
Where they were not on some of those flights?
That is not my
So
understanding.
your understanding is that Secret Service was on all of the flights that President Clinton was on?
That is
with
my
Epstein?
understanding.
By this standard of behavior, multiple credible accusers, including Juanita Broderick, who alleged rape against your husband was disbarred in Arkansas, lost his law license before the Supreme Court, flew on Epstein's plane dozens of times, visited Epstein's island.
That is not true. That is absolutely untrue.
Well, there's documentation in the DOJ files. I'm not sure you're aware, your attorneys have told you, but Jeffrey Epstein told one of the victims to lie to investigators, to lie that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein Island. I can provide that document to you.
We would like that document, please.
Okay.
Yeah, counsel,
I can do
because actually the files say just the opposite. Epstein himself denied it.
We dodged a major one with her, replying to this comment from 60 Grit. And that's the funny thing we just talked about in the earlier stream this morning is people out there protesting no kings. She became the Democratic nominee for president when she wasn't even voted for in the primary. So who's the king? King, the same Democrats that are saying no kings are the same ones that are down for what the communists did in Russia and all these other countries that have kings where they actually let the people vote, but they don't give you what you want they don't give you what you voted for. When it was her time, when she was running for president, who did the Democrats vote for in the primary? Bernie Sanders. And what did they do? They said, no, screw that. Even though you guys voted for Bernie Sanders, we're going to give you Hillary Clinton. And thank goodness they did, because Bernie Sanders might have beat Trump in that election. He might have, because he was doing better than her. That's who the people voted for, remember? So when they slipped in Hillary Clinton, it's possible that's why they lost that election.
FBI notes from an interview with a victim,
But this,
and I can
this
get
is
you the
about
victim
to
number and
this is about to get heated. So here we go. Just put your seatbelt on. Here we go.
the case number and the files. These are notes from a 302
If
interview.
you'd like those, are you going to provide those now?
I don't. That's not my line of questioning. She brought it up, but I have a
I'm
document. I
sorry,
can get to
you're
you.
making a representation
Yeah.
as to the factual.
I didn't enter anything as an exhibit.
But it's factually inaccurate.
No, I can give it to you later. I can go find the document, make copies of it, and give it to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. By your standard of pattern of behavior, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, your husband appears in photos in swimming pools, hot tubs, aboard Jeffrey Epstein's private plane with unidentified young women. We came here today and told this committee that a pattern of behavior demands accountability, correct?
I said that I believe the committee should call anyone who had a substantial pattern and practice of contact with Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes before they came to light.
Does that include your husband?
And after they came to light. You're going to have a chance to question him tomorrow.
So I'll ask you again, by the standard you just set in your own words just now, Does this standard apply equally to your husband or only President Trump?
I have said that my husband has been subpoenaed. He will appear. He will answer your questions to the best of his ability.
That's not the question.
But there is no evidence whatsoever of any connection with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, and I think that that will be obviously apparent in the questioning.
What makes you so sure of that then? I mean, he's photographed with...
Objection
No,
is to speculate on something that's not
Yeah,
evidence.
it is so speculative. I mean, swimming in a pool, sitting in a hot tub, there are millions of people who do that without any improper behavior or certainly committing any crimes. So I
Do you think most of the
men.
men are like your husband that did anything wrong by where they're being surrounded by young women, giving them
Here we go.
massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane? Are they all innocent then?
You know,
Just
you
because-
are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable.
Okay. Why did you wait 6 months to have this hearing today or have this testimony?
You know, I've answered that. I thought that given the way that other witnesses who were subpoenaed at the same time were being treated, that there was an unfair treatment of both my husband and myself. And I thought that, especially from my perspective, I had very little, if any, information to provide you, and that I could have done it in a sworn statement, and you could have moved on to depose somebody else who might have more information that would be beneficial to your
I have two more
investigation.
questions, then we're going to pass it to Congresswoman Luna. After Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, did it concern you at all that you had taken a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein?
That's an inappropriate assumption. I did not take a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein. So far as I know, Jeffrey Epstein contributed to the joint committee that was supporting my Senate race.
Which was how much?
I believe I was told $20,000.
And you don't consider $20,000 substantial?
I do not consider it relevant to me because I have no recollection that I ever knew that he gave any money to
So
the
you
joint
didn't talk
committee.
to your donors that gave $20,000 to your campaign?
My understanding of the rules back then is that there was no coordination between the committee and the campaign. So, no, I have no recollection.
But that doesn't
of
mean
doing
you
that.
can't speak to your donors. That doesn't prohibit, the law does
Don't-
not prohibit you speaking to
But
donors.
I didn't know he was a donor. As far as I knew, he was not a donor until I learned this in
Did it
preparation
concern you at
for the
all that Ghislaine
testimony.
Maxwell was heavily involved with people you knew and were close to?
I knew people that I knew her. Yes, that's true.
And you just shrugged, you didn't want to look into it or
You know,
have any
nobody,
question
you know,
about it?
until her crimes were revealed and she was indicted and tried and convicted, I don't think people knew very much about at all
And
what
then
she
how do
was
you know
doing.
Howard Lutnick?
I know Howard Lutnick because when I was senator on 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnick missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping
know
his
that. I
child
asked him.
off to
No.
kindergarten. You asked the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're gonna yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at
time
me.
doing.
I'm a
I
survivor
spent
trying to look out for other survivors, trying to
and
protect
I
them.
was taking care
You
of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to
lost
get here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey
I
Epstein
have
for
an
money,
email from Howard Lutnick sending it to
what's the
Jeffrey
question?
Epstein and his
What's the-
people to
I
raise
don't-
money for
I don't
you
know about-
for an event, an intimate event for you at his offices
Well,
at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're
look,
going to sit
if
here
you-
today
if you would
and,
let me
and,
finish.
and obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I
Epstein
didn't.
when
I
there was
didn't.
an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to public. You want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
it's
survivors.
very-
I'm doing
look-
the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
no,
Congresswoman.
I'm going to finish answering the question, which I have a right to do. I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing.
She wants to talk about 9/11 more than the Epstein files. People want to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. She waited 6 months. She was subpoenaed early on. This is a late testifying. This is way late. Here's a beautiful clip that we need to revisit really quick before we move on.
Check him, fact check him in real time. Last time at the first debate, we had millions of people fact checking, so I expect we'll have millions more fact checking because, you know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
We want to remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Oh, man. Had to pull that one out. Had to pull that out. She wants to talk more about 9/11 than she wants to talk about 9/11 more than Epstein. Everyone wants to get to the bottom of Epstein. Everyone. Left, right, center, everyone. Every single person. And you got the Clintons just playing games and going crazy, doing everything but they did everything but give you the Epstein files. They do everything but actually come and actually testify and talk about it. She is wasting time. There's a time. When they ask questions in these hearings, their time, there's limits. She's wasting time talking about 9/11. And Matt, did you see how long she talked about 9/11? Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is an older one, but this is our favorite, John Kennedy, and we're gonna take it. Wait, which one is this? This is about taxes. Yeah, that's about taxes. Yep. And before we do that, I want to pull one more video out for us because we got just a beautiful clip here that is it's gold. It's golden. It's golden.
Now, please.
Hold on. Let's see if this is the one. Let's see here. Here we go. I think this is it. I think this is the one. Let's see here.
In our healthcare system, making sure that we're billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
What?
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Wow, bro. Here we go. Let's go a little more.
Embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Do you want to talk about no kings? Remember what the Biden administration did? Remember this?
While they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it.
You guys know Mark Zuckerberg, don't you?
And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, you know, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk
people.
about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration. While they're trying to push that program, they also
The Biden administration was controlling our freedom of speech. That's what was happening. They were using the FBI to censor us. Remember how many accounts got deleted? Remember all those accounts, including President Trump's account. Imagine that. His own account was deleted as a result.
President Biden? I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing.
Caused brain damage for you, bro. Sorry, man, but what were you doing?
A good bit of time with Joe Biden.
What were you doing?
A couple of hours.
Remember
with
this?
Joe Biden sitting, talking, going around the.
Remember this? When the whole entire Democratic, every Democrat on the planet was lying to you, telling you, oh, he's the best ever. Remember that? Let's check it out. Remember this? Right here. Right here.
Would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and I don't really, you know what? I don't really care. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've never.
Remember when they all gaslighted us? Everyone gaslighted us to tell us this is the best. He said this literally, listen to how he says it. It's not even like, oh, I think he's great. No, just listen how he says this. This is during these elections.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it. And you read the New Yorker interview, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference in Oshkosh, but or the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. But if you want to know the truth,
they literally gaslighted us the whole time. They wanted a brain dead Biden to run our country. They were happy he was doing it for 4 years. AutoPen did it. They wanted it for another 4 years. And they knew it. They knew that. Do we have to do this one? I think we got to do this one. We're going to do another one. No, not that one. We got to do this one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's a nice title for you to have. It's good to get to
This is 1 year ago. This is not long ago. Listen to this.
be on this committee with you. Thanks for convening this hearing. Let's take a look.
This is Facebook and Google censoring America.
Look here at something that Facebook, Meta, whatever, something that they've said, Mark Zuckerberg in particular said, or was reported in 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured this is Zuckerberg speaking, pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take the content down. Now,
I love all these guys in the chat. I love what they're saying in the chat. It's so funny to me. Look at this. The one guy says, brain dead Biden quite literally handed Trump a growing economy. Oh, really? Right when it was time to get for re-election, Biden decided, oh, wait, I made the inflation, I made inflation go to the highest level it was in 50 years. It's time for re-election. Let me start lowering that back down and act like, tell America that, oh, wow, we have a handle on this. Yeah, that's what they did, and they still couldn't get it down low enough. Same thing with what else? With the border situation. Why don't you talk about that in the chat? Why don't you talk about the border situation where Biden said, oh, we need new legislation to fix the border and to fix immigration? When we all know the clip, Trump comes out and says, no, all we needed was a new president, which was true. With no legislation, he fixed the border. Why don't we hear you talking about that? Oh, and what else are you saying in the chat? What else? Let's see. What else you got in the chat? Come on now. Let's go. Let's go. I love it. It's too easy. Come on. Let's go. What else? What else? What else? Where did that chat go, bro? I lost it. Let's keep going.
The point that I want to get at, and maybe I'll start with you, Ms. Hemingway, because you and your outlet were a target of a lot of this and were censored left, right, center. You personally were censored. Don't you think that Facebook needs to be held accountable for their role?
How's inflation going now? Beautifully.
And all of this. I mean, so Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg says, oh, gosh, they were so mean to us, the Biden people, they threatened us, and they did. Biden did. Was that unconstitutional? I think it was. This is why that Supreme Court case that we've been talking about today, the Missouri case, is so significant. But isn't it also true that, as Zuckerberg himself says in the statement, it was their decision, they owned it, and truthfully, Facebook and others have a pattern of censoring long before this, the Hunter Biden laptop story. They gleefully, willfully censored on their own. They have been avid participants in this censorship campaign. Would you agree with that, Ms. Hemingway?
Yes. Mark Zuckerberg, who spent nearly $450 million in the 2020 election to control the outcome there, has recently done a few little things like saying, oh, I was sort of pressured to do this censorship, or, oh, I'll give $1 million to the inauguration committee, as if this in any way makes up for the campaign of censorship that he was engaged in, which was probably valued even more than the money he gave to the election, to censor and silence voices like mine and my publication because we said things on all sorts of topics that were at odds with what he wanted, whether that's the radical trans agenda, how elections should be run, how to respond to the COVID pandemic.
Dude, they removed people's accounts like Jordan Peterson. Imagine the lunacy.
All sorts of topics where in a free society, you should have free and open debate. And he worked very hard to keep that from happening. So I find these statements kind of interesting, but they nowhere near deal with the agency that he had on this and how much power he has as the head of Facebook.
Yeah, I'm glad you just used the word power because that's a big part of this story, isn't it? Companies like Facebook, Meta have enormous structural power that Mark Zuckerberg has spent, to your point, he has spent billions of dollars amassing. He has worked to destroy competitors who might break that power up, challenge that power in any way. He has used that power to stifle competition. He's used it to stifle views he doesn't like. This is a textbook example of what happens when a monopoly that has a political agenda, in this case, a very hard-edged political agenda for years, when they use that.
Love it. Here we go. Here's another one. It says, how is gas? How is this? How is that? Gas is still lower now than it was under Biden. Gas under Biden was higher than it is now. Where were you then? Didn't hear none of you complaining, bro. Didn't hear none of you guys complaining. Where were you guys when inflation was 9.1% under Biden? Crickets, right? Nowhere to be found, exactly.
Monopoly in order to try to control other competitors and also to try to control the
bunch of virtue signaling losers acting like they're economists now, all of a sudden. Overnight, turn into economists.
information that flows to the American people. Do I have that right, do you think?
Yes, and the political system itself, which had previously been so supportive of him, and the work that he did to silence, again, not just in the election sphere, but those journalistic voices that were countering his preferred policy objectives.
That's just terrific, and you are perfectly placed to talk about that and to bring this to light. I think it's so vital that we don't lose sight of the role that these massive companies, and there's just a few of them. I mean, it's Google, it's Meta, that the control that they have amassed and that they have used to try and dictate, frankly, what Americans can see. And we know in the case of Google, we've had testimony in this committee and subcommittees before, Google has rigged their search results to try and influence independent voters and try to sway elections for years, and not just in this country. They've done it in other countries. They've done it in Australia. These are massive monopoly corporations that have political agendas that have been using their market power to try and influence. Actually, that's not strong enough to try and control outcomes in our political system. That is a problem. And I would just submit, until we deal with their power, this problem is going to persist. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Chairman, thank you for having this great hearing.
Great. That's what it was. You had the Biden administration, you had Democrats trying to censor our freedom of speech. Not trying, they did. They successfully censored freedom of speech, and they want to have a No Kings protest. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then we got another one here. Here we go.
Jordan Peterson, you've said that men need to, quote, grow the hell up. Tell me why.
At least
this is one of the better ones. It's an older one, but it's good. It's a good one.
Ever since I've been around, the representation of women in the workplace has been about 50%. So we've run the experiment for a fairly reasonable period of time, but not, certainly not for centuries.
Let me move on to another debate that's been very controversial for you. And this is, you got in trouble for refusing to call trans men and women by their preferred personal pronouns.
No, that's not actually true. I got in trouble because I said I would not follow the compelled speech dictates of the federal and provincial government. I actually never got in trouble for not calling anyone anything.
Right.
That didn't happen.
You wouldn't follow the change of law, which was designed
not
to
once it was
outlaw
law.
discrimination.
No.
Well,
that's what they said it was designed to do.
Okay, you cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. Like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot. I'm very glad that I've exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
and that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there and I'm just trying to work that out. I mean,
gotcha.
You have got me. I'm trying to work that through in my head. Yeah. It took a while.
It did. Yeah.
It took a while.
It took a minute.
You have voluntarily come into the studio
and then we got JLP, baby. We got JLP. You guys ready for JLP? You guys ready for a little JLP? Let's run it.
400 years is, I think working on those plantations for 400 years is
none of them worked on a plantation.
Earned enough. What do you mean?
None of them worked on a plantation.
I didn't particularly work on the plantation, but I had ancestors who did.
Hang on. Let me go. Wait. It's like right here. Here we go.
Do you believe that black people should receive reparations?
Yes.
Why? They didn't earn it. Why should they receive it?
I think working on those plantations for 400 years is
none of them worked on a plantation.
Earned enough. What do you mean?
None of them worked on a plantation.
I didn't particularly work on the plantation, but I had ancestors who did.
None of the blacks were begging for it.
I've had ancestors who did.
And how much should they get?
That I have no idea. I don't know, but we can determine a reasonable amount. Let's do this. Would you be in support of endowing black colleges to the level of, say, Harvard?
No, they've already done it with the black schools. Do you wish you had white privilege?
I think every black person wishes that they had white privilege.
Do you wish
if I had white privilege, I'd be a U.S. Senator today.
Do you wish you had white privilege?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll take white privilege. Why not? I'd probably be a senator.
Why don't you, if you people are so unhappy with America, and you call yourselves African American, mommy Africa, right? Why don't you go back to your country?
Well, first of all, because black folk are the owners of the whole planet, everywhere belongs to us. And you can't say because you criticize, that makes you the most patriotic because you criticize so that America correct itself. I'm the most patriotic person you'll ever find because I want America to correct herself.
That's amazing. And correcting herself means to do what?
Correct herself meaning to stop murdering us, to cease and desist killing us, cease and desist raping and robbing, cease and desist the unjust incarcerating of our people, cease and desist flooding our communities with drugs and alcohol, cease and desist poisoning our waters, cease and desist holding on to resources that never belonged to them in the first place and for benefiting from those things. Those are the things that I want them to do. And to, you know what? Show us the money.
With see, I told you want money.
Yes,
begging
because
for
it
money.
belongs to us.
There you go, begging for money.
When we came over here in slave ships, was that racism?
No.
That wasn't racism?
He just playing.
Why do you say that?
Show we on, yo?
Why do you say that was racism?
To capture and force people to go somewhere that they don't want to go.
And who were the racists promoting that, doing that? Who were the people doing that?
The so-called white man.
No, that's not true.
It's not true.
Black people were sold into slavery by blacks, wealthy, to the Arabs. It was the Arabs who sold the blacks across the world. It wasn't white people who just tiptoed over to Africa and just...
That's a big misconception that everybody has. Nobody realizes that it was actually Arabs, actually Muslim Arabs, that were capturing and purchasing slaves. Actually, a lot of the black people themselves, Africans themselves, were the ones that captured their own people and sold them to Arabs, and Arabs then brought them over to America.
Bought white, took white folks. They were being sold by other black people. Is that racism for black? And they're still doing that today in parts of Africa where blacks are enslaved by other blacks and Arabs. Is that racism?
Every black person is not the same.
Is that racism?
Okay, so you wanna justify
real resistance for black people is freedom, and respecting our freedom. It means
Freedom
respecting the fact that we can
what?
live.
From who?
Freedom to live however we want to live.
But white people don't care how you guys live.
But that's not necessarily true.
No, they want you to go away and live.
Well, at least from history, it tells us that our image, our aesthetics have always been criticized and manipulated by white people.
No.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
They lied to you again. Would you date a white man?
Yeah, I would.
But how are you going to have your space away from him?
I can always have my space. I can always create that space.
Would you believe me if I told you that all this stuff that you've been taught and other black kids are being taught about the black thing and white privilege and all that mess is not real? It's just you guys are being brainwashed by angry blacks who want to control you in order to gain power and wealth for themselves? Would you believe me if I told you that's what's really going on?
No, I wouldn't.
You would not believe me?
I would not.
I just read an article in the LA Times last week about racism, and the white people that were polled said that there wasn't really a racism problem, and the black people who were polled said that there was a racism problem. Now, who's speaking the truth there?
The white folks.
Not necessarily. I'm a white folk, and I don't believe that racism isn't a problem.
There's no such thing as racism.
Well, that doesn't, just because it's a cultural construct doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist.
No, really.
Do you believe racism?
You're a black man, and you're going to sit here and tell me that racism doesn't exist.
And I grew up on a plantation. Racism does not exist. It's a lie. Do you disagree with that?
Oh, please. I pastor an African-American church. I see it daily.
But you're a white woman, you pastor in a black church.
Yeah.
Where's your proof that racism exists?
The proof is in the differences in their salaries.
In their salaries? That's not true. I mean, people work at different levels and at different times and different jobs, so that's not proof.
I have women in my congregation who are caregivers.
Right.
And they are paid to the person less than the women of other races, other colors that work for the same agency.
Okay, so I pay my black employees more than I do my white ones.
Good for you.
More, is that racism?
I'm not sure what that is.
Why not?
Racism is a power differential.
I'm discriminating against my white employees. I'm paying my black people, and my white employees are better workers.
So it is discrimination.
Is that
There's no doubt about
racism?
it, but I'm not sure it's racism.
Why not?
Because the white folks still call the shots.
But I'm calling the shot. The
And
shots.
if you want to
I'm calling the
discriminate in
shots.
that manner, I don't know that anybody.
It's a good point, dude. It's a good point, but they don't allow it to go the other way.
would ever stop you.
Is it racism?
No.
Why, if the white man does it, I don't do that, by the way. So why is it if the white man did it, it's racism? If I do it, it's not.
Because
where's my cricket soundbite?
Do you believe white people are superior?
No.
Do you believe in white supremacy?
No. I don't believe in white supremacy and the fact that they're supreme, but the white man does have the power to lock black men up, black women up. He does have the power to put drugs in our community, not in their community. He does have the power to hire and fire. So he does have that power.
This statement is very true. It says every race has enslaved. Let's see let me read it exactly what you said. Every race has enslaved another at least once, mostly each other, themselves. The reality is more black people enslaved black people than anybody else. That's just the reality. More Africans in Africa enslaved their own people, and imprisoned and enslaved their own people than any other race enslaved black people. That's just a reality of life. And actually, I think that's still one of the only places on the planet where racism still exists. Believe it or not.
What does that feel like to hear yourself blaming and complaining about another man and that you can't make it because some other man to keep you down? I don't know what that feels like. I've never had that in my life. What does that feel like to believe that a white man can keep you down, so you got to complain about it rather than overcoming it?
I love the way he does that. I love these questions. I love that. Listen to this again. Listen to this. The way look at this.
Yeah. Because some other man to keep you down. I don't know what that feels like. I've never had that in my life. What does that feel like to believe that a white man can keep you down, so you got to complain about it rather than overcoming it? What does that feel like?
Well, me being an alpha male myself, I don't know what that feels like.
Are you complaining for other beta males?
No, I've never said that, though.
Getting back to your question.
Are you complaining for other beta males? If you are any color, any race of a person, and you're blaming your underachievements on everyone else, you're the problem. This is what these kind of people do. People that go around complaining that my success or my lack of success is because of someone else, dude, that is a loser mentality.
Of why
that is a victim mentality. If it weren't for this thing or that person or these people or those types of people, I would have been so great. Please, bro. Beta male. Exactly. Now you know why we got the JLP buns, guys. Beta male. And we got a couple of them in the chat too. Beta male. That's right.
White people are blamed, slavery.
Slavery.
A white person, a white created problem, I guess.
Why had nothing to do with slavery?
Oh, well, most of the slave owners were white.
In places like Tennessee, I believe, or one of there, a lot of black people owned slaves in those days.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't happen.
And it was the Arabs who went over to Africa, Mommy Africa, and bought the slave from other black people and took them around the world. It wasn't the white people, and anyone that could afford a slave bought one.
I mean...
So what do you think about the attack on white men?
Well,
Is it right?
I understand it.
You understand it?
So I understand why African Americans were angry at white people. Because
it's impossible you could be wrong, but that the problem's with you and it has nothing to do with white people?
I don't think that that's true, no.
It's amazing. It's really amazing to me that black people feel that white people are superior. It explains a lot, too. When I hear and see them protesting and talking about white supremacy, because if they didn't believe it, they wouldn't be saying it. So they do believe white people are superior. And that's why they beg for reparations, affirmative action. And
I think you're conflating white supremacy, which is something that you've kind of applied to this conversation, and not necessarily anything that, I don't know that anyone, I mean, I'm sure some people believe it, but I don't know if that's necessarily the truth that I would
You
speak
say
to.
in your book, white supremacy frame your self-image.
Yes.
And what do you mean by that?
I mean that, you know, if you look in our culture, particularly as a woman, white women are, you know, championed more. They're seen as the beauty standard. You know, I am in a lot of ways the opposite of what is seen as beautiful in this country. And as a young woman, you know, discovering myself, developing my self-esteem, you know, looking for representation, I didn't often find it because of white supremacy. Because,
Wow.
Yeah.
Do the white women...
Again, here we go with the victim mentality. It's everyone else's fault but mine, right? That's the mentality. Everyone that points at everyone else instead of looking in the mirror.
It make you feel that way?
Absolutely not.
They don't make you feel that way on your own?
I mean, I don't feel that way anymore because I've become very comfortable with myself as a grown woman. I'm speaking more about how I felt as a 12-year-old girl.
But when you felt that way, did the white women make you feel that way?
No.
And so why do you blame
it's not about
them then?
individual people. It's about a system and the way that our culture is presented. It's not necessarily about any individual person or even, you know, small group of people. It is a systemic global issue.
And so your self-image then was the white woman better and prettier and better than me?
That's what the world thinks. I don't know that I actually believe that.
So how did it frame your image if you didn't think that?
No, but I'm saying you think all lives matter.
Yes.
And a black life is included in all those lives. So you think black lives matter.
I don't need to say black lives matter. When I say all, I mean all.
So you're including black people.
But I know that black lives doesn't matter to black people.
So you're including black people when you say all lives matter?
Yes.
So that means when I say black lives matter, you agree because you think all lives matter.
I grew up in Alabama under the Jim Crow laws. We couldn't live in certain places like that.
Right.
But we had family. We were better off then than blacks are today when they can do and live wherever they want. Why weren't we worse off then?
Look at the chat, bro. I love it. Everyone's losing their minds. Look at that. But it's good. This is the whole point of this, is we get to at least see all this. We get to talk about it. We get to see what these other people think. And it's good because a lot of times on social media, we're in our echo chambers. But with this live stream, we get to see all the lefties come in here and speak their minds. And they get to see the answers from the right, and we get to talk about it. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing.
Under the Jim.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for subscribing. And glad to hear your side. Look at these guys talking about grinders and all grinder accounts and all this stuff. That's called projection. You guys know from the previous streams, it's called confession through projection. They are confessing who they are by projecting who they are onto us.
Crow laws, then the blacks are
Because,
today.
first of all, the reason you grew up under Jim Crow laws is because there were white people who were racist. If you think it's all of a sudden disappeared in 50 years, then I think that you don't actually have a real grasp on how tenacious some of these beliefs and prejudices are. And the fact that the black family has suffered from many other things, which it clearly has, and I'm not disagreeing with you about that, doesn't mean that therefore there's no white racism in America.
It doesn't exist.
Okay. All right. Look, I mean, I didn't really come here to try to convince you that racism exists.
No. We're just.
I'm saying if you don't believe it.
No, I know it doesn't.
Okay.
I know
How do you
for a
know?
fact.
How do you know?
Because.
So if I hear if I hear a white person make a racist remark, what am I hearing?
It's
not true?
First of all, it's not a racist remark. You hear an angry person. It's all based on what they're saying and why they're saying it. You hear an angry person making a comment about someone they don't like.
Yep.
But what if they make it about a race?
They're still making it about someone they don't like.
But what if they're making it about a whole race?
It's still about people that they don't like. It has nothing to do with the color. It has everything to do with the character of the person.
When you grew up in the Jim Crow laws, was there racism?
No.
So
that's just what it is. You guys they want to make it about racism and all kinds of other things. I mean, I ask this all the time. If I decide I don't want to date a Muslim, does that make me? Well, it's not even a word, but does that make me Islamophobic, or do I have a preference? It's a preference, right?
So you don't think that when in Nazi Germany was there anti-Semitism?
Let me say this, and then I'll get to that. I want to.
I think you're a little bit playing with words.
No. In reality, our battle is a spiritual battle, a warfare between good and evil. It's either good or it's evil. It's either wrong or it's right. And so whenever you become angry, it causes you to look down on your fellow man. It causes you to blame them. It causes you to judge your fellow man. But if you don't have that anger, you would never do that. And you're able to see people for whom they are, and you deal with them accordingly. But the moment you become angry, you lose that sight of that. Black people, the smart ones you're talking about, they can't even get into the average college because they're not smart enough. They need affirmative action. I did a story recently where black people could not pass the...
That's another one. Affirmative action and DEI. What a joke all that is. And it hurts the very people it intends to help.
Air traffic control test. So Jesse Jackson organization, according to the survey, and the black air traffic control union or something like that, they got together and got with the air traffic controllers and decided that they were going to let black people cheat on the air traffic controller test and then hold back the whites and the Asian and others who were smarter and more qualified because blacks were not smart enough to pass the test. And so now when you fly back home, there's a possibility you're going to be on a plane. There's some black pilots.
I don't like to fly.
So what? You don't fly?
I don't like to fly.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. Because
this guy, where'd you get him from? This guy.
Because that
I like your humor. Your humor's good.
Can you see coming in for a landing down in front?
Oh, here we go. Everybody here's laughing. It's ridiculous.
Can you see coming in for?
Whoever says doesn't give anyone a foot up. This guy is clear. Oh, that's Kev, dude. Why? I thought I got rid of Kevin already. Talking about pedo stuff. There, thanks, dude. Let me put you on timeout, bro. I forgot. I thought someone already got you.
For a landing, and you have this black air traffic controller, the pilot like air traffic controller about to land. Which landing?
He didn't even get to.
You're talking. Oh, this dude talking about. He says, look up Morgan Freeman. What he says about racists. Actually, I made a reel on that. That is one of my. I don't know. It's got like 5 million views already. Here it is. Let me show you. And you're right. He does. It's actually wonderful. I love what he says about that. Is it on this one or another one? Here it is. It's right here. For sure, Bill, I had to put him out on timeout, bro. You can talk about pedo and all that stuff enough and grinders and all this kind of stuff enough, then I'm going to put you on timeout. This one right here, Morgan Freeman. Hold on.
You find Black History Month, you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it.
There you go.
I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
That's what we're talking about.
I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You want to say, well, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But that's the problem. That's why my caption on the top of this says, Democrat socialists create racism for political gain. That's why you had Biden and Obama coming out saying, if you don't vote for Democrat Party, you ain't black. Why would you say that? Why the hell would you say such a thing? Makes no sense to me whatsoever. Let's put this back.
The joke yet. It's funny.
Like, which land?
Oh, goodness.
Land should I come in on? Number 1 or number 2?
Is this going to be aired in Harvard or Princeton, you think? This
All
show?
over the world.
He's right. It is all over the world, actually.
Mr. And then
Mark Furman, dropping the N-bomb more than Eazy-E on a NWA album.
But what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with saying the N-word?
Right.
Nothing that the windows are up. I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna get killed after this. I don't know if it's considered racism, but when people hear I'm Jewish, they're like, "Oh, you must be pretty cheap, or you must be pretty good with a buck." To me, that's racist.
But why is that? Jews are known to be good with money and tight.
Well, because I don't think you can say that about all Jews. Like,
Have you ever met a Jew that wasn't good with money?
I mean, you got me on that one. I'm not gonna lie, you got me on that one. But it's. I don't think you can ever group any race or religious people. You can't say all Arabs are terrorists. Well.
Good call. Boss Man says it's a Democrat strategy to get votes. They have lots of good strategies to get votes. And by the way, they have the easiest sell to get votes. The easiest sell is on the Democrat side. What is that? It's very simple. Hey, vote for me. I'll give you stuff for free. That's the Democrat Party. Vote for me. I'll take money out of some people's pockets and put it into yours. What? It's an absolute joke. And then the people that go for it. And why is it? And this is very basic. And if you read books and stuff and all this, you understand history, you understand what's going on, you'll understand this. It's very simple. Since the beginning of time, all of us as children grow up to be biased towards the Democratic Party. Why do I say that? Because when you grow up as a child, you grow up in a household where obviously your parents are taking care of you and they're paying for food and they're making you food and they're paying for shelter. And you have basically a socialist society that you live in with your direct family. You literally are getting things for free. When you graduate from high school, you go to college or, whatever the case, you go to college, maybe up until high school, I should say, you're a Democrat. And Democrats come in here and say, hey, but you're almost at the age to vote. By the way, we will offer you more free stuff, and it's the easiest sell. That's why I was a Democrat. Since growing up, I was a Democrat, especially growing up here in Southern California. So that's how it goes. It's the easiest sell. So I mean, it's just a reality situation. Democrats have the two easiest sells. One is children grow up in a democratic society with their parents, in that type of a parental society, right? So they grow up in that free stuff is cool. Let me get more free stuff. If I vote Democrat, they'll give me more free stuff. And then they have the easy sell even to adults. They sell, hey, by the way, we'll give you free stuff if you vote for us. And then they have this additional layer that they added on top. Hey, we opened the borders so you guys can come in here illegally. And by the way, we'll make you citizens. But guess who did it for you? We did it, the Democrats. Yeah, it's that layer cake. It's that layer cake, dude. That boom, boom, boom. It's and then imagine pushing back on that is hard. It's not easy. Not easy at all. But here's another one, and we're going to go out on this one so we can have a little fun, and we'll bounce. Ready? Here we go.
You are a member of Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And how long have you been a member?
Let me turn the volume up so you can hear this.
Again, to 2014.
And did you know that Black Lives Matter was an organization that was founded by a bunch of fat black lesbians who hate God, who hate the family, order of the family, who hate the unborn child, and they admitted, at least one of them, that they're a Marxist group and they've been trained to do what they're doing. Did you know it was founded by some fat black lesbians?
Wow. So first of all,
did you know that?
What we're not going to do is insult folks, right?
Well, they claim to be lesbians and they're fat and they're black.
Well,
I didn't do it.
Straight facts, bro. All right, guys, we're going to go out on that. We had a good time. We had some really good, interesting Senate hearings. Good ones. I like those. And then we got JLP to close us out. And for those of you that are Trump haters in the chat, still going on here, this is for you.
You are a Trump hater.
No.
And you are a beta male.
And Trump is still your president, and he's your daddy.
The Great White Hope.
He is the Great White Hope. That's for Jesse Lee Peterson. Guys, thank you for joining the stream, and we'll be back on tomorrow morning. Thank you. That was a good time. It is now 9:16 in Southern California. It's getting late. I'll see you guys. Have a good night. Bye.